Okay, let's unpack this.
Right.
Today we're taking a deep dive into a corner of the global economy that's, well, absolutely vital, yet maybe not the first thing that springs to mind.
Hmm.
We're talking about the global steel snow chain market.
Yeah, not exactly glamorous, but essential.
Exactly. Our mission today is really to give you a shortcut, to getting properly informed about this really essential sector, maybe overlooked sometimes.
It often is.
And we're basing this on the Global Steel Snow Chain Market Pulse 2021-2033 report. That's from Cognitive Market Research.
Solid source.
It really is. And just think about it for a second. These steel snow chains, they're fundamental for vehicle safety, especially in harsh weather across all sorts of global terrains.
They keep things moving when nature tries to stop them.
Pretty much. They keep us moving. So what's the big picture?
Well, what's truly fascinating here is just how consistent the growth is. It shows this quiet underlying strength.
Yeah.
Globally, the market was valued at around $115.5 million. That was back in 2021. And it's not just staying there. It's projected to reach over $130 million by 2025.
Okay, so decent growth soon.
Yeah, and then climb further to more than $166 million by 2033.
Wow. Okay.
And this represents a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of 3.1% between 2025 and 2033.
So 3.1%, that signals pretty persistent, reliable demand then over the long haul.
Absolutely. It's steady, consistent demand.
All right, let's shift gears a bit then. Let's explore the story region by region. How about we start with North America?
Makes sense.
I mean, it's a continent where winter can really bite hard, right?
Right.
From the Rockies clear across the Canadian plains.
Oh, definitely.
You can imagine the demand, severe storms, those mountain drives. What do the numbers actually tell us about demand there?
Well, North America shows a pretty steady, robust growth curve. The market there, valued at over $32 million in 2021,
Okay.
is expected to grow, well, quite a bit, actually, reaching around $45.5 million by 2033.
45.5 million.
Yeah. That works out to a CAGR of just over 3% for the region. Respectable growth.
Okay, 3%.
Okay.
And within North America, I assume the U.S. is the big player.
For sure. The United States is definitely leading the charge. Projected to grow from about $27 million in 2021 to over $38 million by 2033.
38 million, okay. What about Canada?
Canada's also showing consistent growth, expected to hit a bit over $5 million by 2033. So
Yeah.
it's steady as well.
Right. But here's something I noticed, kind of an interesting twist. While the U.S. market is expanding reliably, Mexico, even though its market is smaller right now, seems to be experiencing the most aggressive growth in the region.
That's right.
It's projected to nearly double, from $1.35 million up to over $2.27 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of over 4%.
Yeah, 4.085% to be precise. It's notable.
It really is. So what do you make of that? What specific regional factors might be driving that stronger growth down in Mexico?
That's a really crucial observation. It probably implies a few things happening at once.
Like what?
Well, maybe increased vehicle ownership in parts of Mexico that get, unexpected cold snaps or more severe winter weather than before.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or perhaps expansion of tourism into mountainous areas, places that didn't see as much winter traffic previously.
Yeah, tourism, right.
Could also be evolving safety regulations. Or, simply growing awareness among drivers about needing chains in certain conditions.
So it highlights that demand isn't uniform, even within one continent.
Exactly. Very different drivers at play, even regionally.
Okay, interesting. Now let's turn to Europe. This seems like a continent that really highlights the complexity of the market.
It does.
You've got incredibly diverse microclimates, different rules, different approaches to winter roads.
Absolutely. Europe's market trajectory is significant. It was valued at over $29 million in 2021.
Okay.
And it's expected to expand to more than $41 million by 2033.
41 million, so still growing steadily.
Yeah, with a CAGR of just under 3%, around 2.84%.
And who are the main rivals there? Germany? UK?
Yep, we see strong contributions from those powerhouse economies.
Yeah.
Germany and the UK continue to drive substantial demand. Both markets are projected to exceed $6.5 million by 2033. Germany slightly higher, around $8.3 million. UK, around $6.5 million.
Okay, so those are the major players. But what about the rest of the continent? It's pretty diverse.
It is. And by 2033, we also see significant contributions from France, Italy, and Russia, each projected over $3 million. France near $5 million. Italy just under $4 million. Russia just over $3 million.
Okay.
And while countries like, say, Spain, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg show more moderate growth, what's particularly striking is the rest of Europe category.
Ah, the catch-all. What's happening there?
Well, this segment shows a very strong DAGR, over 4.6%.
Wow, that's higher than the big players.
It is. It nearly doubles, jumping from about $4 million in 2021 to over $7.8 million by 2033.
That's really interesting. So if we're seeing such strong growth in these, let's say, less specifically defined areas,
Yeah.
does that imply manufacturers need to be more agile, maybe targeting smaller, more specific regional needs rather than just broad country strategies?
Exactly. That's the takeaway. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it highlights how diverse microclimates and, importantly, varied regulatory environments within Europe really shape this market.
Right.
It's driving growth in perhaps less obvious segments, suggest a more granular demand, needing adaptable products, flexible distribution.
Fascinating. Okay, so from the sort of established complex demands of Europe, let's shift our gaze eastward. Asia Pacific.
Right.
The report flags this as one of the most dynamic markets globally, and I guess the numbers back that up.
Oh, the numbers certainly do.
Yep.
APAC's snow chain market is really impressive. It grew from over $40 million in 2021
$40 million, okay.
to a forecasted $59.6 million by 2033. So nearly $60 million.
Almost 60. And the growth rate.
A healthy CR of 3.35%.
Right.
So outpacing Europe slightly.
And I'm guessing China plays a big role here.
China's absolutely dominating the APAC market, yes.
Hmm.
Robust growth, solidifying its position. Expected to exceed $26.6 million by 2033.
26.6 million. Huge share.
Massive. But India is another real standout, showing rapid expansion.
How rapid?
Projected to climb from over $7.3 million in 2021 to more than $11.2 million by 2033.
Okay, so significant growth in India, too.
Definitely. And we also see, substantial contributions from other regional players by 2033.
Right.
Japan at $5.6 million, South Korea at $3.4 million, Australia around $1.3 million.
What about Southeast Asia? Singapore?
Yep. Singapore projected at $0.775 million. Southeast Asia as a whole around $4.175 million. Taiwan at $1.43 million. So growth across the board.
And again, that rest of category, rest of APAC.
Also gaining significant traction. It climbs from around $2.85 million to over $5.1 million.
And seed AGR.
Impressive again, nearly 4.3%.
So similar story to Europe in a way, broad-based growth beyond just the biggest economies.
Exactly. It indicates rising demand across diverse Asian countries that face winter conditions, may be driven by infrastructure development or increased vehicle use in those areas.
Okay, let's pivot south now. How does Latin America fit into this global picture for steel snow chains?
South America shows steady growth, though perhaps more modest compared to APAC.
Okay.
The market there hit over $5.1 million in 2021, projected to climb to over $6.8 million by 2033.
6.8 million. And who's leading there? Brazil.
Brazil really dominates, yeah. Projected to reach nearly $3.45 million by 2033. That's up from $2.6 million in 2021.
Is that linked to specific regions in Brazil, maybe the south or mountainous areas?
Likely. Brazil's diverse geography, including its southern regions, which do get colder winters, plus its expanding auto market, those play a role.
Makes sense.
And we also see consistent growth in places like Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile, probably linked to the Andes in many cases.
Right, the Andean region.
And the rest of South America also shows a decent increase, demonstrates a consistent, if smaller, demand trend across the continent. The CGR there is just over 3%.
Okay, steady growth across South America. Now, for something a bit different, a curveball maybe, the Middle East?
I guess.
Not exactly the first place you think of for snow chains. So what on earth is driving demand there?
That's a great question, and it is one of the more surprising segments in the report.
I bet.
Despite not being a primary snow region, the Middle East has shown, well, notable traction. Its market grew from over $5.3 million in 2021.
5 million.
Really?
Yeah, to a projection of more than $8.5 million by 2033.
8.5 million. So what are the drivers?
The report points mainly to tourism and specific mountainous zones.
Tourism again, like ski resorts.
Think about it, yeah. The rise of luxury ski resorts in places like the UAE, or established winter tourism spots in, say, Lebanon or parts of Turkey. Plus, some mountainous areas in other countries get occasional snow.
Okay, so places like Saudi Arabia, for instance, they're contributing.
They are. Saudi Arabia grows from just under $1 million in 2021 to over $1.6 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of almost 3.8%.
Interesting. And you also see contributions from Turkey, UAE, Egypt, Qatar.
That's right.
It's just fascinating how these niche applications, maybe driven by tourism or specific geography, can create a significant unexpected market.
Precisely.
Does this suggest potential for, I don't know, more specialized or maybe even luxury-oriented products in these regions?
It could, yeah. And the rest of Middle East segment is expanding too, from just over $1 million to nearly $1.7 million by 2033.
Right.
So what's really fascinating here, as you said, is how these niche applications, specific geographical features, may be combined with burgeoning tourism, how they drive these unexpected market segments.
Yeah.
It proves demand isn't always where you'd first look. Definitely opens the door for diverse products.
Okay, let's wrap up the regional tour with Africa. The report described it as modest, but promising.
That sums it up well. Africa's market is forecasted to grow from just over $3.2 million in 2021 to nearly $5 million by 2033.
So crossing the 5 million mark, who are the leaders there?
The leading countries identified are South Africa, projected to reach over $2.1 million by 2033,
Okay.
and Nigeria at over $1.1 million by 2033.
Nigeria. Interesting. Any specific reason? High altitude areas?
Could be specific high-altitude areas or perhaps certain industrial. Super specific on the why for Nigeria.
Gotcha. And the rest of Africa?
That rounds it out at over $1.6 million by 2033. And the overall regional KGR for Africa is strong, actually, over 3.2%.
So again, while it's not the largest market, there's definite growth potential in specific African territories,
Right.
driven by local factors.
Absolutely. It indicates localized demand driven by particular climates or terrains within these countries. It suggests that even in regions not globally famous for snow, there are specific growing needs for these safety products.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground, literally. So pulling it all together, what does all this mean for you, our listener? We've thrown a lot of numbers and regions out there. What's the big picture takeaway?
Well, the overarching drivers for this global market growth seem pretty clear now, right?
Yeah.
It's a dynamic interplay. You've got climate variability, more unpredictable or severe weather. You've got increasing safety regulations, especially in snowy regions.
Right, the legal push.
And also just rising consumer awareness. People understanding the importance of these products for safety.
So it's not just about more snow necessarily, but also being better prepared or even required to be prepared.
Exactly. Preparedness and regulation are key drivers alongside weather patterns.
And it's really interesting how the market seems to have this dual nature.
How it fell.
Well, you have the mature markets like Europe and North America. They're still innovating, maintaining demand, often helped by those regulations.
Steady demand, incremental improvements.
But then you have the emerging markets, Asia Pacific, Latin America, even the Middle East, really fueling the future growth, shaping where the industry is headed.
Yeah, driven by different factors there. Economic development, changing consumer behavior, maybe infrastructure opening up new areas.
It paints a really global picture for something as specific as a steel snow chain.
It really does. And maybe that leads to a final provocative thought for you, the listener, to sort of chew on after this deep dive.
Okay, leave us with something to think about.
How might this ongoing climate variability continue to impact demand for products like snow chains, but in perhaps unexpected regions?
Right, beyond the usual suspects.
Exactly. Could it potentially influence things like urban planning or vehicle design, or even reshape global supply chains in the future?
So it's not just about mountains anymore, but adapting to unpredictable weather, maybe closer to home, in places that never really saw consistent snow before.
Precisely.
Right.
Something to consider as weather patterns continue to shift globally.
Welcome, Deep Diver, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into a market you might not think about often, but it's surprisingly dynamic. We're talking about the steel snow chain market.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
And our insights today, they're pulled directly from a deep dive into steel snow chain market, drivers, restraints, and trends, a report by Cognitive Market Research.
And it's a good time to look at it. This market is, well, it's really changing quite a bit. You've got extreme weather, new rules, even cool new product ideas shaking things up.
So the goal here is to get you, our listener, up to speed quickly.
Exactly. Give you a solid handle on what's shaping this, honestly, vital industry. It's more complex than you might think.
Okay, let's dive in then. When you think about steel snow chains, maybe the first question is, what's actually pushing the demand? What are the big forces at play here?
Well, it's interesting because the environment is a huge piece of it. A really big driver is just more severe weather.
More snow, basically.
More snow, yes, but also Harsher, less predictable winters. Think North America, Europe, parts of Asia too.
Ah, the unpredictability factor.
That's key. It makes people, and even cities, think, okay, we need reliable ways to get traction. And steel chains, they're, a go-to for dependability.
That's quite a direct link. Climate shifts driving sales for stay chains. Wow. Okay, but besides the weather, are there other big pressures? Man-made ones, maybe?
Oh, absolutely. Regulations play a massive role.
How so?
You've got really strict safety rules for winter driving in some places.
Yeah.
Europe especially, and parts of the U.S.,
Uh-huh.
they actually mandate using snow chains in certain conditions. It's not optional.
Right. So it forces people's hands.
It does, both regular drivers and, importantly, commercial fleets. Delivery trucks, logistics companies, they have to comply to operate in those areas.
That makes total sense for businesses. And speaking of those trucks, are certain types of vehicles driving more demand than others? I'm picturing like big rigs.
Definitely. Commercial and utility vehicles are huge users, especially those working in mountains or areas that just get hammered with snow.
Like emergency services too, I imagine.
Exactly.
Mm.
Logistics, deliveries, emergency vehicles. For them, steel chains mean durability and safety. Getting through when roads aren't clear, that creates a really solid B2B demand.
Okay, so that covers the essential, maybe the more obvious uses. What about the fun side? Any demand coming from, say, leisure activities?
Yeah, that's actually another growing area. Think about adventure tourism.
Off-roading in the snow.
Precisely. Snowmobiles, 4x4s, those rugged SUVs people take out. If you're going into deep snow for fun, you need good traction.
So steel chains become kind of a necessary accessory for that crowd.
Right. It positions them not just as a safety requirement, but as something that enables those winter adventures. Adds another layer to the market's momentum.
Okay, so we've got harsher weather, strict rules, essential commercial use, and even adventure tourism boosting things.
Yes.
That sounds pretty positive. But every market has its challenges, right? What's holding steel chains back?
It does. And there are some significant hurdles. A big one is just competition from other stuff.
Other types of traction aids. Yeah, exactly. Things like tire socks or those composite chains, even just really advanced all-season tires.
And why are people choosing those?
Well, often they're seen as easier to put on, they're lighter, and maybe crucially, less likely to damage the tires or the road itself. That appeals to a lot of drivers.
Easier to use is always a plus. But that damage concern you mentioned, is that a major issue with steel chains? Or more perception?
No, the research suggests it's a real concern. There's potential for high maintenance, yes, but also actual damage.
Like what kind of damage?
Road wear is one thing, scuffing up your tires. And sometimes, if not used right, it can even affect the suspension.
Ouch. Okay.
So yeah, that makes some owners hesitate. Especially maybe city dwellers who don't face extreme conditions that often.
And beyond the damage risk, just putting them on and taking them off, that sounds like a pain.
It definitely can be. They're often seen as bulky, difficult to handle, especially when it's freezing cold outside.
Right. Not ideal if you're not used to it.
Exactly. So for casual drivers, maybe older folks or just people unfamiliar with winter gear, that hassle factor is a big barrier. It doesn't matter how well they work if getting them on is a nightmare.
And then there's the most obvious challenge, I guess. The fact that you only need them, well, when it snows.
Precisely. The seasonality is inherent. Sales are concentrated in cold months and in specific snowy regions.
Makes planning tough for businesses, I bet.
Hugely. Managing inventory, predicting sales when it all depends on unpredictable weather.
Yeah.
It makes consistent, year-round revenue really difficult.
Okay, so we have the drivers pushing forward, the restraints pulling back. This is where it gets interesting, though. How is the market actually adapting? Are there cool trends emerging to tackle these problems?
Yeah, and this is where the innovation comes in, tackling those pain points directly. One really big trend is making them easier to use.
Ah, the quick fit mechanisms.
Exactly. Things like automatic tensioners, designs that center themselves on the tire, even color coding parts to simplify things.
So making that installation process less of a headache.
Significantly less. It's all about improving that user experience, trying to win back some of those drivers who might look at alternatives.
That really does sound like it addresses a key weakness. Does it compromise the strength, though? Or is it the best of both worlds?
The aim is definitely best of both worlds. Keep the durability, improve the usability, and it connects to wider tech trends too.
How so?
We're seeing moves to integrate chains with smart vehicle tech. Think about your car's dashboard maybe alerting you, hey, conditions suggest you might need chains.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some high-end vehicles are starting to do things like that. And even more advanced systems are being designed to work with modern traction control, not fight against it, making it smarter, potentially safer too.
That's a huge leap from just being a chunk of metal you strap on. It's like the chains talking to the car. What about sustainability? That's everywhere now. How does that fit with steel chains?
It fits. There's a real push towards using materials that are more rust resistant, maybe a bit lighter weight.
Better for the environment and maybe easier to handle.
Both. Reduces the carbon footprint in making and shipping them, plus they last longer and are less of a chore to carry and install. Add eco-friendly packaging, and it starts to appeal to that environmentally conscious consumer too.
Okay, interesting. So with all this innovation happening, is the market itself growing geographically? Are chains popping up in new places?
Yes, definitely. The market's moving beyond its traditional bases, the usual suspects.
Where to?
Countries like China, South Korea, parts of Eastern Europe, places that maybe didn't have a huge market before, but are now seeing heavier snowfalls, linking back to that climate driver again.
Ah, so new weather patterns are opening new markets.
Exactly. They're becoming really attractive targets for manufacturers. It's shifting the whole global picture.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we've gone deep into the steel snow chain market. The big takeaway seems to be it's a surprisingly complex and evolving space.
Absolutely. It's this fascinating mix of climate change, rules and regulations, clever innovation, and just how people behave and what they need. It's way more dynamic than you'd guess for, well, chains.
It really shows how even traditional industries are tied into these big global shifts. So here's a final thought for you to consider. As these new regions become markets and the technology keeps advancing, think smart vehicle integration. What does that signal about how adaptable even seemingly basic industries can be? And how will tech continue to change our relationship with equipment that's fundamentally about safety? Something to ponder as the seasons turn.